everybody. Hope you're doing marvellously well. I'm with my friend, I'm going to pronounce this properly, Tara Bush.
Yes.
Yes. How are you?
Good. Very
Marvellous.
good. Very good.
Tara is an electronic artist. I think that is okay to say
Yeah,
that. We were
it's
discussing
perfect.
off camera whether that was the right moniker.
Yeah,
say.
it's hard to find an encompassing term, but
Marvellous.
I think that's perfect.
So we have a couple of things we want to do. First of all, we want to showcase her as an artist. And just because, frankly, it's really cool what you do. And talk about this, which I have know a peripheral amount and has been discussed quite a lot recently online. This is the Resynator with the Y.
Resonator.
And I know you know a lot more about the history than I do, so what can you tell me about this?
Well, it's, first of all, it's a super, super, super rare synthesizer that it's kind of got quite a bit of history behind it. But to make a long story short, by some sort of bizarre coincidence, my neighbor, this belongs to her, and her name is Don Tavel. Her father, Don Tavel, invented it. And she was making she's in the middle of creating a documentary for it, and it's the Resonator documentary, and we connected over that, and I've been playing with it a lot. She's graciously allowed me to use it on a lot of my stuff, and or just at least play with it and try and figure it out, because it's a very, 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 very unique piece of kit. Because her dad actually came up with his own terms for it, like the timbral image modulator for the synth heads out there. It's just kind of similar to a volume envelope or maybe a filter envelope or maybe a combination of the two. I don't know. It's technically it's a little, it's quite, I'm not enough of a tech head to really get it out and be super articulate about it, but it's similar to a tracking synth. It is an instrument controlled synthesizer, so you run stuff through it.
Which is very exciting for guitar players.
Yes, and it's incredible on guitar. I've run synths through it, I've run vocals through it, but the most exciting thing that I have found to run through it has been the 808. For me personally, I really love it. So the 808 drum machine, and it just kind of tweaks it out a lot. You can hear it kind of struggling to track the hi-hats, and then it creates this big swoopy, juicy bass off of the kick drum, because those of you that know, the 808's got a big boomy, very famous for its kick drum. So it loves to latch onto that. It's got a lot of character. It's a really, really unique synth. I think there's a lot of history behind it that I think if you look at Allison's work or look at her Kickstarter, the whole story is there. I'm not sure I can really do the story justice because it's wonderful, but it's basically it's about the synth and her dad.
Yeah,
her journey finding out about this synth.
How many did he make? Half a dozen or something?
If that many,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure, a lot of different artists have used it, and she's kind of tracing all of those facts down. I think that it was resurrected by a guy called Mike Beagle, who worked with Mutron. I think it was Mutron. I might have to check. But, and he helped to resurrect this synth. And it's kind of, I think for her, it seems like it's been a journey rediscovering her father through this synth, because her father passed away when she was a baby. And then she found this synth in her grandmother's attic, and it's just really, really interesting. And then I came along and met her, as she's my neighbor, and I was like, "What? You have a synth? Oh my God!" And then she said, "Oh, it's, there's only, there's only two in existence right now. I think." I keep saying I think, but it's her story.
There will be a blog attached to this with a whole bunch of details, so you can click on the blog somewhere around.
Yeah, I've got the general idea going,
Yep.
and so the general facts are there. But yeah, so it's super rare, super unique, and I think that they may be looking to go into production with it, but nothing's been nailed down or anything. But that would be so cool if it did. So, but yeah, I think it's got both analog and digital components to it. So, I think it's got analog oscillators, but I'm not quite sure what part of it's digital. So, she knows, I don't.
So let's play around with it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I want to see what it can do.
Yeah. So what we have here is first the 808. This is one of probably my very, very favorite drum machine. It's just a classic 808. It's been used by oh goodness, so many people. Probably most famously, Marvin Gaye, Dr. Dre used it. Michael Jackson's Thriller, it's all over that record. Big 80s machine, but people still use it a lot today. There are a lot of new versions of it that are out that are quite good. This one's an original. I have a little bit of trouble with the start-stop button, but it's okay, it's healthy. That has probably my very, very favorite kick drum. It just sounds awesome. And what I can do first is just show you, because this is actually going to be relevant to when this runs through the Resonator, is it's such a big, boomy, juicy kick drum, and you can do a lot with it. One thing I really like to do is really blow it through my amp at home and distort the crap out of it, and sounds really, really good. So you can do some really fun stuff. I'm just going to play the kick drum. Hopefully I just did that right. So that's just the kick. I don't know if you guys can hear that very well, but it's recording well. So, and then when the Resonator comes into the picture, it's gonna track that and just kind of latch the synthesizer component onto it. So when you start to mix this in, you can hear that. So already you have this latching onto just the bass, and it sounds really cool. And for those synth heads out there, the Resonator's filter, to me, sounds very 303-esque, really old school, classic Roland filter sound. It's really cool. Sorry, I don't know. So there's that, and it's got a sustain on it that's gonna, I guess, hold that out a bit more. And so that's just the kick. Now I'm gonna add some other components to it. And this is the mix, so you can still hear the kick. And that's just the Resonator. So it's really just kind of filtery. I kind of like it, you know, with the kick in there, you have your rhythm. And I've got the res up really high there, but hang on a minute. It can be a little bit moody at times, but you've got your tuning. So I'm gonna add some other stuff to it, which is I don't know what I just did there. Oh, we don't want the tom. But so that glitchy stuff is the Resonator trying to latch on to the hi-hat and to the snare and to the hand claps. So, and then as you open up the filter, the more synthesizer component, for want of a better word, is going to come into it, which sounds like you're playing a synth with
So
it.
the peanut gallery in the back wants to know, what is the 808? It's not giving any of that musicality to it? That's all from the Resonator?
Well, it's tracking. I think that you mean like
Yeah.
oh, that's all Resonator.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just how it reacts to the drum machine. And when you run a guitar through it, or you run a synth through it, or vocals through it, it's a bit more tuneful and tracking that way. But when you chuck a drum machine
No, I
through
love
it,
this.
it's like
This is already a song to me.
yeah. So
This is
it gets
incredible.
yeah, it's really cool. And again, you have that a synth component that you can bring into it too. So that's way cool. And a really gnarly sounding filter. It's really dirty. Don Tavel knew what he was doing when he made this filter. It was really good. So, and then you can mess with the timbral image modulator, which to me just looks like an envelope, but and you've got, you can attenuate how much is on there, the amount, and you can kind of hear how that's going. The little downward slope is usually the one I use. Or you can really mess it up with these. It's kind of subtle. You can hear it a little bit better when the filter's open. And turning off the sustain. And then you got your octave switch. You can tune it. A lot of tune, but So you want to tune it with the kick drum or not, don't have to. So it's quite dark.
It feels like a scene in Blade Runner to me.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it has a very late 70s sci-fi vibe to it for sure. Yeah, and there's an FXO, which is the effects oscillator. I'm not quite sure what that means, but you know, a lot of it is just experimenting with it and turning and tweaking, and which we all love to do for hours of our lives. Hours, that's an understatement, but you know.
Months.
Yeah, months of lost lost weekends. Yeah, so it's really a lot of fun. And this is, I guess, the pulse width or something. I think this is the pulse width modulation, I want to say, but some of you might know a bit better than I on that. You can hear the rate going on it. Just this, the VCO. Yeah, it's so much fun. And it's so weird. It's super weird, super unpredictable. It does have a mind of its own, like most synths do. And yeah. And I like to go into the low register with it. And then just the mix all the way up. That's just Resonator. Just glitching itself out. I'm not quite sure what CM means. I wish I did. And if you can just imagine finding this in your grandmother's attic, you're like, wow.
Did she play music at all?
Allison doesn't know.
So she took it to people to be like, what does this do?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it was just, you know, again, I guess a journey to get to know her dad too, who's this really incredible inventor. It's very forward thinking, you know, for the 70s especially. It's the only thing I can think of that would be similar to this. I think Roland did a few tracking synths. I can't remember what they're called, but there was the Korg MS-20 that has the external signal processor that has the tracking ability in it. And
the ARP 2600.
And the ARP, yeah. But this one actually can track very well. So it's very fun. And then bringing in this little guy again. And I think they've done, you know, lots of live drums with it, you know, and you can actually sing bass lines in it. That's fun. Yeah. So how's that? There's more. So that's just 808, and that's that. I don't quite remember what sensitivity does. I think that's just kind of maybe that. Let's see. I don't know. Let's turn it all the way up and see what happens. That's right there.
Okay. Yeah, sensitivity. So when you bring it down, the threshold down, it's reacting to every element.
Yeah, I think so.
It seems like when it's all the way up, it's only reacting to probably louder transients.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah.
Because I think I bet if you adjust it, the red light will change how often it's triggering.
Or that might be the here you go. I don't know if they correspond to each other or not. Or if that's just the input. It says over. And it even has an A440. You're really out of tune. Like yeah. So that's really fun.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you want to try a song with this and tell us a little bit about the recording of this, about this song and what you're using?
Yeah. So this song is my cover of The Sound of Silence by Simon & Garfunkel. And what I'm using on it is Minimoog Voyager. And I'm actually doing a brand new version of it that I've never played anywhere ever. I've played this on tour when we toured with Gary Newman about 3 years ago, and there's a certain version that I did on that show. But we've just kind of on the spot figured out how to combine everything and do a version of it just for you guys, right? So what's happening here is Voyager's running through the cluster flux. Now this is basically a chorus flanger pedal. It is my favorite Moogerfooger that they put out. Moogerfooger. So it's really, really useful because I use it to establish rhythm when I play certain songs. Like the version of The Sound of Silence that I usually play, I use it to get a rhythm going. So this is just the Moog, and then when I add it in, you can, so the LFO is what's going to shape the rhythm. Like you can use a square wave or a downward slope, and you'll be able to hear the difference. So the rate is going to give you the rhythm, so you can hear that little pulse happening. And I use this a lot live. And you can kind of, so that's really how I use it is. And I kind of came across this by accident. So I had just gotten the pedal. I was like, oh, I can actually just sing with this thing. It's great. I don't need, I don't really need anything external like in here, rather, but it's really fun. But I'm not going to use this for the version I'm about to do. So that's the flanger pedal. And then that was my really interesting way of explaining it. And then then I run my voice through the Electro-Harmonics vocoder, and I just use it on single drone. And it's always really fun live because I have to tune it live. So I go through a few different songs, and I just have to tune it on the spot. So, which means I have to tune the drone from, say, a B flat to a G, and just sort of work out how to do it so nobody notices I'm doing it on stage. And then, and then I just run everything. My voice runs through this, and then runs through an eventide space for reverb. That's it. And then,
excellent.
Yeah. So it's not crazy complicated today, but enough fun. Yeah.
Let's hear something.
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
Okie dokie dokie. Okay. like a cancer grow. Take my arms and I might reach you. Take my words that I might teach you. But my words, like silent raindrops fall. No one dares disturb the sound of silence. Disturb the sound of silence. Disturb the sound of silence.
Marvelous. Great work.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
It is
what we're
a
going to
pleasure.
do is we're going to have those stems available so you can download them and play with them.
Yeah, of course.
Tara, I was going to call you Tara, got it right.
It's okay.
Tara actually has her own site, and one of the things you offer is actually monthly multi-tracks, don't you? Which is sort of similar to what you do as well.
So, I Speak Machine, which is my project with Matt Lewis, who's a writer and filmmaker. He's the visual component to it. We have a Patreon, and part of what we do every month is a monthly cover. We release it on digital and then 7-inch vinyl. And then with that, I do sample packs and stems of all of the covers and a bunch of other stuff, mixtapes, t-shirts and stuff. But the fun stuff really is the stems and the sample pack and the cover and stuff like that. So it's our little nerdy corner of the internet, you know.
Excellent.
So
I think we should, if we, with yours and Math's permission, should take one of the songs and have them up in the Academy so people can mix it.
absolutely.
There
We'd
you
be
go.
honored.
Okay, we'll do that. So
Get
for
some good
those of
ears on
you
it.
that are Academy members, we'll do that.
Yeah.
We will grab those. Marvellous.
Hell yeah.
Thank you ever so much.
Indeed.
Have a marvellous time recording, mixing. Please leave a bunch of comments and questions below and we'll get Tara to answer them.